Good morning. Today is Wednesday, November 15th, and this is Devotions from St. Paul Evangelical Lutheran Church in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. You know, these are difficult times in the world, and so I am going to take two passages, one from the Old Testament book of Psalms and one from the New Testament book of Paul's letter to the Philippians, and see what their takes are on our situation in the world today. So the first part is a very familiar psalm, Psalm 100. Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come into his presence with singing. Know that the Lord is God. It is he who has made us, and we are his. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. Give thanks to him. Bless his name. For the Lord is good. His steadfast love endures forever, and his faithfulness to all generations. This is a pretty uplifting psalm. The psalmist had a very real idea of who God was and what our response to God should be. Now, from Paul's letter to the Philippians, I'm going to read from chapter 4. And this is Paul's take on life. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say, rejoice. Let your gentleness be known to everyone. The Lord is near. Do not worry about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. Seems like a very appropriate time to me for these kinds of passages. I read the papers and I listen to the news, and I hear about wars in Ukraine, in Israel, and all the ramifications of that, including demonstrations on both sides of the war and the political conflict that's going on in our country and economic tough times for so many people because of inflation, and it just seems like there's no good news. And yet the psalmist tells us to rejoice in the Lord, that we are his people, the sheep of his pasture, and it implies that he will take care of us. And Paul writes, rejoice. And again, I will say, rejoice. And it says early in this letter that Paul wrote this letter while he was in prison. Both of these passages are meant for us to understand that what we experience here and now is temporary, and what we will experience with Christ and with God is forever. And it means to us, I think, keep our thoughts and our minds on the big picture. What's really important? Who's really in charge? And how much do we have to worry about the here and now? Now, I don't think either one of them says don't take care of business. I don't think that's it at all. I think what it means is understand that all the difficulties that we see, and maybe even that we go through, are temporary. That Jesus came to this world for you and for me, and he is the master of this world. Everything that we have to worry about, he's already taken care of. And so with Paul, we say again, rejoice. And again, rejoice, for God is in charge and we don't have to worry. Sometimes we just have to sit back And remember that, because the news doesn't bring that part of our lives into clear focus. But it is important to understand Jesus is in charge. Jesus is the master of this world. And we are his children. We are his heirs. We are the sheep of his pasture. Read these passages. Feel the joy for yourself. And as we get ready to get to this Christmas season, remember, this is the story of Jesus coming for us. It is incumbent upon us to be joyful in all circumstances. Thank you.